Welcome back to Expedition 33. I'm Akinar, and today we're doing something a little different. We are putting on our lore detective hats today. As much as we love beating up on unsuspecting sprongs and serpent fares with our ultra gommage, we also love digging into the story, trying to figure everything out. And so we're going to be looking back at some previous NPC dialogue today to see all that we've missed, specifically the fading NPCs, all of these various fading characters that we've come across throughout the playthrough, all of whom, the first time I talked to them, I left the conversation thinking, what? Huh? I did not know what to make of anything these folks were saying the first time around. So we're taking another look back. You all have advised me, hey, take another look at the fading NPCs, because I think similar to the cutscene reviews that we have done at the end of both Act 1 and 2, looking back at every single cutscene that we've seen throughout the game so far, there was so much that I missed the first time around. Knowing what you know, later in the game, you see all the foreshadowing that they were doing, all those little subtle hints that were there that you just didn't see. And normally this is the kind of bonus content that we do for members on the channel, but I thought it would be fun for us to do one for everybody today, sort of a, I guess, sneak peek. So yeah, if you are interested in this kind of bonus content and you want to see more of it, along with the other membership perks that we have on the channel, such as early access, feel free to check those out. But let's get to it here. Let's jump in with the young boy that we meet in the ancient sanctuary way back when. He says, another expedition, 33. He was keeping count, apparently. Who are you? We ask. Me? A dream, an illusion. I don't really remember what I did all of this for. I miss laughing with everyone. We ask, who are you talking about? Ray, Clay, what were their names? Okay, so I have to admit that for the majority, I've set up all of these little clips here in my video editor, and for most of the fading characters, pretty much all of them, I have avoided looking at the dialogue again while editing here, or while setting up the video here. We're for most of these, we're going to be looking at them again for the first time since the first time. This character, however, is one exception because I think I mentioned a couple months ago that I had started another fresh file, and I did play up through that fresh file up to the Ancient Sanctuary at least, and I did talk to this young boy, and I happened to notice at that time when I read Ray, Clay, what were their names, and realized, oh snap, he's talking about Renoir and Clea. Of course, there was no way I could have known because we'd never heard those names when we first talked to the young boy. But he knows Renoir and Clea. And he says, I miss laughing with them. I miss laughing with everyone. What I did all this for, I don't really remember. He goes on to say, why do I forget? Everything is washed away. And just like that, the boy has gone silent. So there's not too much to what he says, except for the mention of both Renoir and Clea, which is very curious. Why were Renoir and Clea laughing with everyone? So let me also mention something else regarding Clea before I forget. We recently took on Clea, the amazing boss fight that also the Ultra Gommage obliterated. But I had some confusion in that episode, and I think I no longer have confusion. Because what I was confused about was the fact that I don't remember the exact dialogue from the cutscene, but, well, I was confused as to why it was a copy of Clea. I think that part was clear, but I wasn't sure, did Clea paint her or Aline? And where I got confused was the dialogue that Mael has, where she says, Clea didn't like Mama's portrait of her, and so she painted over it. She was talking about the copy of Clea. She was talking about Aline's creation of Clea. The real Clea didn't like Aline's creation of her, just like Aline had created everybody else in the family. She also created Clea, who we had never seen up until that point, up until episode 38. But the real life Clea didn't like it so much, and so she, being the only one who can actually paint over someone else's creation, she basically fucked up her copy. Turned her copy into some sort of zombie, more or less. I think that's where I was confused, because when I first heard that dialogue and Mael saying Mama's portrait, the literal brain thinker in me thought that there was some random painting in the manor or some other place, some actual like canvas within the canvas that had been painted of Clea, and Clea didn't like it and she went and painted over it. But I thought she might have been talking about the copy of Clea didn't like the random portrait somewhere in the manor. And that's where I started thinking like, wait, what the hell? Why would she paint over some random portrait? The real Clea painted over the copy of herself. I get it now. So now with that in focus, how does that relate to this young boy? I'm still wondering, the big mystery here to me is, who exactly are these fading characters? Are they just another set of creations within the canvas? That probably is the most likely explanation. But there's another possibility that I'm wondering about, where are they actually people in real life? Are they copies of people in real life, perhaps? Is it possible that Aline didn't just copy her family? Maybe she also copied a whole bunch of people that she just knows IRL? Or did Renoir and Clea somehow make their own copies of people that they know in real life? Or are they just part of Verso's original canvas and they happened to, I don't know. Why are they special? And the fact that they have the thing with their face being hollowed out, just like the curator, aka the real Renoir, and just like the paintress Aline, makes me suspect that they are actually real life people, but somehow, I don't know, maybe they've been like disconnected from the actual person in reality. Is that possible? Is there like an after image that's left within the canvas when you leave the simulation, quote unquote? Your copy or whatever stays behind in the simulation for some time and slowly fades away. Could that be what's going on? Okay, let's go ahead and move on there to the next young boy who was at Yellow Harvest, I think was the name of this zone. So this one, talking to Gustav this time, but I don't think in this case, most of the characters don't matter. It doesn't matter who we're talking to, except for some very notable exceptions that we'll get to in a moment. But he starts by saying, why? Why would she paint these things? Now this makes more sense right off the bat. I think when we first talked to him, I thought it was a reference to the paintress, but obviously I didn't know who the hell the paintress was yet. So it's got to be the paintress here, right? Why would she paint these things? And I think he's talking about the Nevrons eating the world, eating our world, right? So we know that there's this big set of Nevrons that just eat the landscape. Now, it's interesting. If they're eating the landscape, I just had this idea. Could it be that Clea might have created these Nevrons? If she has the power, just like Aline, to create things, wouldn't she be the one? Because I get the sense that she's trying to tear down Verso's canvas, correct? She, along with Renoir, want to erase this canvas so that Mama, Aline, is not drawn back into it anymore, and they can basically put Verso to rest. And so could Clea have created this, this big version of Nevron that just eats everything the mountains and the land, and that's another way of slowly erasing the canvas. We used to have fun here together. I wish we could still have fun. Sister. Sister, capital S. That's interesting. I wish we could still have fun. Is that a reference to Clea? Is he calling Clea his sister? But that doesn't quite make sense because we know that, I mean, we play as Verso, the copy of Verso. So this wouldn't be Verso here, would it? Sister. Am I reading too much into the capital S? We try to communicate with the boy. The boy ignores you as if he does not see you. So that was it. That was a very short one. In the Yellow Harvest. We used to have fun here together. Not totally sure what to make of that. Who would be his sister? Is that just... Maybe this is not anybody that we know, or the sister is not anybody that we know. It's just another... I don't know. I don't know. Let's move on to the next young boy at the Stonewave Cliffs. Now this one says, it's you. It's you. I know you. What do you mean you know us? I've seen you countless times, yet I've never grasped your essence. You are not from here. Huh. You are not from here. Now, once again, we've got Gustav as the technical speaker. Technically, Gustav speaking, but I don't think this is an interaction that matters or cares who we're speaking as, but I don't know for sure. I don't know for sure. If he is speaking about most of our party, Gustav, Lune, CL, these are creations inside the canvas, although I'm still not sure exactly if it's Aline that's created them or Verso originally. My inclination is that it's Aline, because when Mael/Alicia re-enters the canvas after the is it the prologue or the interlude, whatever it is after Act 2 going into Act 3, Mael re-enters the canvas, or she enters the canvas as Alicia and she becomes born as Mael because she doesn't quite control the chroma when she goes in, and Clea says, well, oh, you lost it. You're gonna get reborn as one of Aline's creations. So it seems like Aline is just painting, new people who are born into the world in Lumiere are her creation, because we now know she's ultimately not the one doing the gommaging. It's Renoir who's doing that, and she's trying to stop him. So it would make sense that Gustav, Lune, CL, they're her creations, right? But the young boy says, you are not from here. I've never grasped your essence, even though I've seen you countless times. So what does that mean? I've never grasped your essence. So he says, you are not from here. We ask, our essence? He says, I wonder if he's talking about chroma, actually. Maybe he's talking about chroma. I can feel it. Familiar, yet so different. Like everything she created. That line there backs up that theory. So that seems like we can pretty solidly say Gustav and everybody in these expeditions are Aline's creations. What I'm not sure about is if this is originally Verso's canvas, what exactly did he create any of the quote unquote humans that are within this universe? Are those all Aline's creations? Did he just create the Grandis and the Gestrals and so forth? Like everything she created, like the creature of darkness at the end of this path. So, correct. And that's the other thing, though, that Aline would have created so many of these Nevrons in order to stop the expeditions from reaching her. But that's the other thing. If she's the one who's created the folks in Lumiere, Yet they're the ones that are coming to stop her because of the expeditions. How exactly does that work? She apparently doesn't exert this like mind control over her creations. When she's created them, they're sort of, I guess, free to do what they want, including trying to come and defeat her because they think that she's the one gomaging them. Like, I'm just wondering, how is if Renoir and Clea want the expeditions to go stop Aline, are they must have done, I don't know, some sort of propaganda campaign within Lumiere in order to get the expedition started. But, well, didn't Verso say that he was part of Expedition Zero? He was, but Verso kind of flipped, right? Verso flipped because the copy of Verso, even though he was one of Aline's creations, he went to the other side. And of course, we see the conflict between him and the copy of Renoir. The copy of Alicia. Well, no, Alicia doesn't really step in too much, does she? It's really just Renoir who's like, no, what are you doing? You're destroying us. Stop, Verso. Creature of darkness at the end of this path. It is but one of her many creations. Beautiful in its own way, but deadly. Her favorite combination. You mean the paintress? Why is she doing this? I don't know. I wish I knew. It is not like her. She was my best friend. See, this really makes me, this line here is one of the lines that really makes me think that these fading characters they're other painters from real life. That's what I get. The theory that I'm thinking here is Aline would definitely know other painters. And why would it would make perfect sense if they would have, well, unless she copied them. Maybe these are just other copies, just like her family. They might not have necessarily painted themselves into the canvas, which is what I was going to say. It would probably make more sense if she created them. I don't know. I'm not totally sure. But she outgrew us. She was my best friend, but she outgrew us. She outgrew us. Are we talking about the paintress for sure? The fact that she outgrew us. I'm not sure about that line, because it suggests that maybe we were talking about someone like Clea, who is much younger, and like it doesn't make sense to me that Aline would have been young enough at some point to be like with all these, like we see young boy, right? These are all children. And he says that she outgrew us. So it makes whoever he's talking about was at one time a child like him. And then she just naturally got older. Is that really Aline that he's talking about? Or would it make more sense if it was Clea? She had more important things, more important friends. Maybe it's also just a figure of speech. Maybe it's not about aging, it's just about finding a different friend group over time. She left me behind. The boy has gone silent. That's a curious one. Definitely one that I would want to ponder a little bit more, because I feel like there's a lot of, depending on how you interpret what he says here, you could go down some very different paths. But let's keep going on. Let's look at the next one here in, I think there's actually a couple that we're going to look at from the painting workshops. Is that what these places were called? Which would be fun to go back to at some point, because there's at least two more, right, that I don't think we've ever gone in, and there might be more, probably more fading or faceless boys to talk to. A lost soul, adrift in twilight. Her paintbrush wielded darkness, and from it, the monster emerged. She wove her spite into the canvas, birthing a horror to plague my nights. I would imagine, once again, we're talking about Aline, birthing a lampmaster, creating another lampmaster. I think that's supposed to be the boss in this area. once you actually go into all 4 painting workshops. Your hand holds the power to unweave the terror she wove. You can dissolve the nightmare. Will you help me? We ask, what do you mean? Her beasts to tilt the balance. Her beasts, ever in her favor, ever controlling. Will you help me? Now this one, I'm not sure how much. I always wonder from like a gameplay perspective, how much does this one add to our story? Or is this one just a little, you know, this is a side area, a side mission. We've got another faceless boy here whose dialogue kind of maybe just tangentially supports whatever theories we have about Aline and her creations. But we say we will, of course. We will help you. Remember, light and dark dance together. Now that obviously is a theme that is from, well, it's woven throughout the entire game. It's literally the title of the game, Clair Obscure. I don't remember if they mean exactly light and dark, but that's the idea. Yin and yang. I think. Feel free to clarify if because I know Clair Obscure is this art style, I think it was explained before, that talks about or has to do with contrasting light and darkness. Light and dark dance together, but light must lead. And he gives us Light of the Beast. Farewell. Okay, so that one I'm not going to think too deeply about. I think it's a little bit of supporting dialogue that probably doesn't need to be. It doesn't feel like there's too much to diagnose there. Let's go on to a very interesting one, though. This one I definitely did not get the first time through, mainly because I wasn't talking to her with the right character. Turns out you have to talk to the Fading Woman with Mael, and only after I did receive, I think, a nudge to do so, and I went back through a backtracking episode and we did talk to the Fading Woman eventually. And I think I know who the Fading Woman is here, because as I was looking, as I did, the only thing that I looked at, I wasn't looking at the dialogue, but I did see the fact that her silhouette, the outline of this character, and also the fact that there's maybe the gold petals are a clue as well. This has got to be Clea, doesn't it? She only reacts when Mael talks to her. Let's go through the dialogue. You're awake? Surprising. Have you sufficiently recovered? If so, then you can help. There's much left to do. Oh, this is so fascinating. This is 100% Clea. 100%, no doubt. It's so interesting, though, that just like in the Endless Tower, this really feels like the real Clea. It really feels like her, because she's talking as though this is the follow-up to the conversation that she and Alicia have when Alicia goes back into the canvas. They hide the canvas from Mama, they put it somewhere, maybe a painting within a painting, because Alicia, Mael, was actually able to talk in that one short little snippet, whereas before, the whole time talking to Clea in the atelier next to Renoir and Aline, she couldn't say a damn thing. But that's beside the point. This is totally, because she says, you're awake. Surprising. She's totally talking to her little sister. So there's much left to do. Now, Mael still doesn't know anything. Who are you? Help with what? I guess not. Pity. I'd hoped to return to more important matters. She thought that Mael might be Alicia once again. Not so fast. But I instead must occupy my time with this. It's really interesting, though. The fact that Clea can project herself like this. I'm guessing it must be, right? If we know that the curator / Renoir and Aline, the paintress, can exist within the canvas, but they do so in this fashion where their faces are hollowed out, or at least, well, I don't know if that's their natural state or if they just assume that for whatever reason, because we know that Renoir can also show himself to be Renoir. So the actual appearance of these people may not be as significant as I'm trying to make it out to be. But the fact that Clea is a fading woman suggests to me that she's somehow like a radio transmission or something into the canvas. She's only got a very weak signal here that she's able to communicate with Mael, rather than actually fully inserting herself in. Or maybe she could be fully formed in some other part of the canvas, but she's able to portray herself over here just for the purposes of communicating with Mael. I don't know exactly how this painting thing works. I'm just speculating. Making stuff up on the fly, hoping something sticks. What important matters, we ask? Vengeance. I will settle this conflict once and for all. Vengeance. Vengeance for the writers, or against the writers. Vengeance for Verso, and the fact that he was killed as a result of the attack by the writers. So, I mean, I don't know how much, don't tell me, of course. I don't know how much we're going to get to know about the painters and the writers. That it feels like they're almost setting up this meta-narrative for a sequel. That's totally what this feels like. We're going to just leave this whole unpursued thread of writers versus painters, and we'll just leave that for a second game that you guys can have fun with in a few years. Which I would not be opposed to playing at all. I really don't have time for this. I really don't have time for this. Yeah, until you wake up. Don't get back to me until you are Alicia. It's probably for the best that you don't get involved after what happened before. A reference to Alicia sort of being responsible for the fire, which we still, I don't think, have great detail as to what exactly happened. Did she forget to put up the shields? Like the Starship Enterprise. She left shields down, and the writers, the Romulans or the writers, all of a sudden came out of cloak and torpedoed everybody, and Verso died. Go and play with your friends. I'll handle this. The woman has gone silent. That is such a fascinating interaction, and that might be the craziest one of all of these, because of just how clueless you are. When you first go through the game, if you happen to talk to this lady as Mael, which I didn't the first time, and I may not have at all if I were just playing this on my own, but it's her sister. It's her sister talking to her. Oh, this is so crazy. I love this game. It's just so cool how they do this. Another faceless boy inside of a painting workshop. A traveler here, bathing in light. I whispered my fears, yet she merely smiles. A secretive smile that hints at truths beyond my grasp. Truths beyond my grasp. She tells me the night must be met with courage, that the heart must not falter. She crafts a beast, radiant yet fearsome, woven from the very essence of luminescence. It prowls the night, casting its spectral glow upon the darkened corners of my sanctuary. Will you put an end to her night? Such flowery language. The essence of luminescence. I forgot this one. I think this is. I'm gonna treat this the same way that I did the other faceless boy in the other workshop. I don't get the sense. I just feel like we're talking about Aline, and this is kind of just some artistic language to describe the fact that she's, painting her creations in various locations. It'll probably be it might be more interesting, this dialogue, once we actually defeat the beast within the painting workshop and see what it might be guarding. We say, what do you mean, put an end to her night? She manipulates, frightens, controls. Everyone, all of us, all of you. Fear is her weapon. Will you put an end to her night? I always have to keep a possibility open in my mind, though, that Clea could be the one that we're referencing here, right? Anytime we're talking about a painter or her creations, it could be Clea, because we know that Clea has similar, if not equivalent power level directly to Aline. We say we will put an end to her night. A curious yet admirable pursuit. The beast has paid the price, and so shall its darkness shine once again. Farewell. Color of the beast obtained. Okay, excited to get to these others. Oh, there's so much content in this game. There's so much content in this game, but we're getting closer and closer to a finish. All right, now this one I believe was in Old Lumiere, and I think this is the first tuxedoed, chic, fading person. So everyone up to this point, other than Clea, although Clea is still quite young, but all the other characters to this point have just been boys, right? They've all kind of been actually, I think, the same character model. For whatever that is worth, but this is the first adult figure, once I actually get back to it here, this is the first adult of the fading characters that we've seen. How is that important? Not sure yet. Fading man. I have nothing but time, I suppose, to sit and think. And again, he's in Old Lumiere. What do we know about Old Lumiere? Other than, well, it just used to be part of Lumiere, and it was taken away by the fracture. The fracture. And I'm still, I feel like, man, it is such a massive game, and there's been so many things that we've been told. I might need I don't know if I want an overt reminder, but I might need a reminder about what dialogue I should review. Because what I'm confused about still is, what exactly was the fracture? And have we been told in the game what the fracture was? Maybe we haven't been outright told. Maybe it's only been hinted at or alluded to. But I feel like there has been some talk of this. It's just there's been so many conversations, and I haven't been diligent enough with my note-taking. If you have a reminder about conversations between, like, the expedition, or who knows, maybe we'll even get to a fading character's dialogue here that answers my question. But if we don't, feel free to point me to some previous conversations that you are aware of. I would prefer to be able to look at the conversations for myself, rather than someone in the comments just explaining, oh, here's what the fracture was, da-da-da-da-da-da, I'm just going to give you like a wiki page explanation. I don't want us to do that. I do want to be able to still kind of have a little plain lore detective, but I wouldn't mind having a nudge to look back if we have character dialogue that would help me understand what the fracture is. If not, just let it be. Just leave it be, and we will continue to ponder that mystery for now. But anyway, nothing's, I suppose, to sit and think. Are you a spirit trapped in the gommage? Yeah, this was an interesting question for the game developers to give Lune or us, because I think I was definitely thinking something along those lines, because it sure looks like this person is in the process of gommaging with the petals coming off them, or chroma that we know now. In this case, red petals, for what it's worth. These days, I am just a man who sits and thinks. When she was young, she'd get sad thinking about mortality. Aline? But when I asked her about her sadness, her answer surprised me. Are you talking about the paintress, we asked? She paints. She wasn't scared of death itself. She was sad because there are more works of art than she'd ever be able to see in her lifetime. So many fables from around the world that she'd never be able to collect, to bring to life in her workshop. In all the beauty in the world she'd never get to experience. That saddened her. I encouraged them to believe that their dreams are within their grasp, but she proved me a liar. She did love to challenge me. Of all of them, she and I are the most alike. All of them, we ask? It's important to remember the ones we love, to keep them alive in our minds when they are far away. Far, far away. Are you originally from Old Lumiere, we ask? I paint them so that I can remember them. Remember their faces. The man has gone silent. Okay, this is a tough one to make sense of. However, this last line feels like it supports the theory that these fading people are actually people from the real world, and maybe in some cases, painters, just like Aline and Clea. I paint them so I can remember them, remember their faces. Is this guy actually, like, similar with Clea being a fading woman, is Clea actually interfaced with the canvas at that moment? Or is this some after image of her, even though she's moved on in the real world to, like, who knows, some other canvas? The after image of her stays in the canvas and is able to communicate with us. I don't know how it works. But maybe this is what this guy is. This guy was a painter who maybe would come to the manor to paint with Aline and some other painters. They just have a grand old time painted within their canvases and having parties and painter parties. Because he doesn't really answer, are you originally from Old Lumiere? I feel like this is an actual... I'm starting to get the impression that these fading people are actual real life people, if you know what I mean. Even though we get so connected to the characters in the canvas as well. Important to remember the ones we love when they are far, far away. What would that be a reference to? Of all of them, she and I are the most alike. That feels like another line that supports, of all the painters, she and I are the most alike. That's what I'm reading in there. And she loved to challenge me. It's like this, they were not compatriots, but colleagues. There's another word too that I'm searching for. But there's some other lines here though that are more confusing to me. Like, I don't know how she proved him a liar. Believe that their dreams are within their grasp. So basically they can't get their dreams. She proved him wrong. The dreams are not attainable. This line about all of the fables around the world. Aline, would she just collect works of art from the real world and then try to repaint them within one of her canvases to bring them to life in her workshop? But she got distraught at the fact there's too much art in the world. I'm never going to be able to see it all. I'm never going to be able to play all the games, all the great games that have ever been created. I think we talked about this the first time through Old Lumiere. Okay, man, these are some really, 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 I can totally see why you guys wanted us to take a look back at these fading characters. This is so cool what we are learning. So now moving on to, I think, the Falling Leaves. Another young boy. You breathe? I thought her paintings took you all. Oh. As in the Nevrons. I thought her paintings took you all. I wish I could understand why she does that. Oh, wait a second. We also do have another thing here coming up, because in the Fallen Leaves, you've got the Lady of Sap. So we got to be careful here. This might not be a reference to Aline, but her paintings, that sure feels like that would be talking about Aline. But you breathe, as in you're alive. I thought you'd be dead because her paintings took you. I wish I could understand why she does that. Who are you talking about? She's always been there from the moment I was born. It's got to be Aline. Could you find her? Maybe she will talk to you. Well, maybe not. Maybe it's the Lady in Sap. Or Lady of Sap. Ask her why she killed them all. We'll try to find her. Because in this level in particular, I think this is part of, yeah, thank you. A part of her is around here. Oh, a part of her. A part of her. Please find her and ask her why she kills them all. Where can we find her? She's around here in this forest. The lady of sap. Let's keep going and finish the dialogue here with this. I don't think there's any dialogue with the lady of sap though, but we do have Mael who asks, "Is this the person the boy mentioned?" The lady of sap never talks. Hey, we try to talk to her. She just ignores us. I'm wondering now, because he said a part of her is here. Is this supposed to be a part of the paintress? The hands crossed over the chest. There also looks like the chest is kind of hollowed out. But does that mean, what does that have anything to do with the paintress? I don't know. I'm just remembering the figure, the giant, who I originally thought was the paintress, right? The figure that we see kneeled in the fetal position throughout the game in the front of the monolith. When we go to fight the paintress at the monolith, that second phase happens, the phase transition where the giant paintress stands up, and we see like the cavity in her chest where the real paintress, Aline, hovers inside of that cavity. I need to go this. We met a boy. He asked us to talk to you. Still no response. Still no response. He asked, why are your paintings taking us all? Very, very curious. Oh, but then there is a bit of dialogue. I do it for him. I do it for us. To respect what he created, what we created. Oh, let me get a quick hydrate here. Oh, this actually is Aline, isn't it? And she's talking about Verso, what he created. I do it for him. So when this boy was talking about why she kills them all, I might be getting off in left field here, but I have a new idea that what if I'm seeing how what's the best way to describe this? So Aline wants to keep the canvas around. She doesn't want to get rid of it. It seems like she's the only one. The real Renoir and the real Clea say, no, let's get rid of it. And maybe all of the other painters said the same thing, right? And because maybe Renoir and Clea convinced them, hey, Aline is not well. She's stuck in grief. She's stuck in the past. She's embracing or clinging to this canvas. We have to cut her free. Help us do that. And I wonder if that explains the presence of these fading characters. Were they brought into the canvas, just like Alicia enters the canvas as Mael? Did these people enter the canvas and maybe they were able to actually maintain control, unlike Alicia? When entering the canvas, they came in as one of their own creations, but now somehow maybe Aline has severed their connection. She's severed the connection of these painters who entered the world to stop her, but now they're fading away. Ask her why she kills them all. Well, he says kills them all. So why would she? Because he's still here. He's just fading away. He's not dead per se. He hasn't been killed. So I might be getting really overcomplicated with my theory. It's probably the case. One way or the other, I think we can say this is the paintress. And it now totally makes sense Why are your paintings taking us all? Now that is a reference to the Nevrons. Okay, so maybe that's all it was. The paintings are the Nevrons. Who are you talking about? Let me back this up here. Thought her paintings took you all. I wish I could understand why she does that. She's always, okay. Maybe all he's talking to, the expeditions. That's all it is. The expeditions. Ask her why she killed them all. Why did she kill all the expeditions? Because she's doing it for him. She's doing it for Verso. That's all it is. I mean, I'm over here in like La La Land about like the painter army has invaded the canvas. Now, maybe there are still some painters that have come into the canvas and they are trying to help Renoir and Clea. But in this case, this conversation is clearly talking about the expeditions. Now that I have decoded that properly. Anyway, to respect what he created, what we created. We ask, what does that mean? And she goes silent. We should report back to the boy. So we go back and we say, please, or he says, please find her and ask why she kills them all. And we say, we found her. Really? What did she say? She said that she is doing this for you. To respect what you created with her. Oh. I thought that she was talking about Verso. But I just had potentially a huge realization here. I might have just had a huge ass realization. I'm not totally sure, but I think I might have just had a huge ass realization, folks. Let me go back here. Let me go back to... I think I get it. I think I might get it. This is Renoir. This is Renoir. And this is Verso. This is Verso. Every single one of these young boys, now it's called Faceless Boy in the workshop. I don't know if this one's Verso, but I think all of the young boys are Verso. I don't know if I'm going to go through every single bit of dialogue again here, but I think this is all Verso. This makes so much more sense. The fact that he has the same, it's the same exact character model. He has the same exact appearance in every instance. And all of his, you put all of his dialogue together talking about Ray and Clay. What were their names? He talks about, I think here he must have been talking about Clea and the fact that she outgrew him. Because Verso died. And this is maybe all that's left of him. This is all that's left of him, isn't it? He's somehow here at these various locations throughout the canvas, but he's fading away. The chroma is slowly... I think that might make sense, guys. Don't tell me for sure. Don't confirm or deny any of my theories just yet. But I'd like to think that that is the Occam's razor explanation to this, rather than some complicated, oh my god, there's so many different... Every single one of these is like a different painter that they would have known in real life. Or this is Verso. But it's the young... Well, we don't know exactly when Verso died, do we? We don't know exactly when he died. But we do have the portrait in the manor. So we know that he actually he was grown into a young man. He didn't die as a boy. So it is a little curious why, if this is in fact Verso, why is he so young? But I just had this realization because this dialogue, it makes so much sense. It makes so much sense if this is Clea. Why would it be that she's the only exception that, oh, we actually know this fading person and the rest of these are just a bunch of randos that we're never going to know who this person is. It would make so much more sense if this were Verso and if this were Renoir, right? You have a fading man. Now, we've never seen Renoir wear a top hat, but we do have that chic outfit that we get for Verso. He gets a top hat, and you could see Renoir wearing a top hat with the tuxedo and everything, or the suit and looking all dapper. I could see it. This makes sense, I think, because then this is the line that clicked it in for me. The fact that we go and we talk to the Lady of Sap, and it sure sounds like it's the paintress talking about Verso, and then we go back and we say that she's doing this for you. She's doing this for you. He's got to be Verso. He's got to be. To respect what you created with her. She was teaching him how to paint. And they created this canvas kind of together. But that's not what I wanted. I never... Please, maybe you can do it. Stop her paintings from erasing anymore. Be careful. And he opens the door behind us. I don't remember exactly what we got behind the door. It was like... No, it led to the final boss, right? Or the boss of the zone, the scavenger. The boy's gone silent. That's crazy. That is crazy. Oh my God. I think I finally figured it out, guys. I think I finally figured it out. Because now this makes so much more sense if we think that this is Renoir. Well, I don't remember what this conversation is, but it's probably going to make so much more sense. Love that Verso's wearing the baguette as well. But Renoir, now where was this? Oh yeah, I think this was in Visage. I think we see a fading person in Visage, also at Sirene, and then I think at the Monolith. But yeah, this is so... Because now I'm remembering forward to the young boy that is at the Monolith, and I think he talks about playing with trains just like Verso. Oh, this is making so much sense. Let's see what I think the actual Renoir has to say. Now, it's curious if this is actually Renoir. It's what makes me think that this is like an after image of these people. There's somehow the chroma bleeding off like this is similar, but also different from what's happening with the curator, right? The curator is like the current instance of Renoir within the canvas. And maybe that's what happens is every time that these painters insert themselves into the canvas, but then they leave, there's like an after image. And that's, does that make sense? Does the after image just stay? Like, I'm maybe making up some very precise, I'm trying to think like a programmer here. What are the rules of the API accesses to the canvas? What are the exact parameters of when an after image gets left, and for how long is that after image there? And is it able to walk around the world and interact with other after images? And if so, how come we don't see them everywhere? Except we actually do see them everywhere. They just happen to be standing in one spot, not just randomly running around the world conversing with each other. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. I'm having so much fun all of a sudden getting into my theory crafting. I would have traded my years for his. This is totally. It's immediately Renoir talking about Verso. I think we've cracked the case, guys. We cracked it. His life was cut short. He had so much more to do, to experience. This senseless war between the writers and the painters. Why? To what end? Lives shattered. For what? He was innocent. Innocent. It was the folly of his elders, but he paid the price for our hubris. Oh my God. I would have traded my years for his. We ask, who are you talking about? Which is what I was thinking. I remember the first time through the game, I was so convinced it's like, oh, there's nothing going on with these fading people. What the heck am I even doing talking to these folks? Wow, could I not have been more wrong? This place, this Axon, they are all part of his story. The man has gone silent. It's totally Renoir talking about Verso. Yeah. Damn. To think how they just foreshadowed all of this. It is just unbelievable. And here he is again. Man, I feel like this angle is the one that's most, like, now that we know that this is Renoir, like, you can kind of see the beard with the sideburns, right? Like, he's an inverted Renoir. That's what he is. He's inverted. Oh my God. Now, okay, so as I get older, I wonder, can you ever truly know someone else? Then again, how many truly know themselves? We say a lucky few, perhaps. Is it a blessing to understand your darkest nature, or a curse to which we turn a blind eye? We lie to ourselves all the time, don't we? About things we'd rather not admit or confront. About ourselves. About each other. Then there are the things we genuinely don't see. Like all of these clues, all of these hints that you all were giving me throughout the game. I saw none of it. Isn't that human nature, we ask? I wonder. I have nothing but time these days to wonder. What I missed that might have changed things. What is it that I didn't see? That I couldn't make myself see? It sounds like you have many regrets. When did she start pulling away, Aline? The man has gone silent. When did she start pulling away, retreating into Verso's canvas? Man. I actually want to go back now. I was confused. I think we understand now who these people are. And so I want to look again at this dialogue here. Knowing now that this is Renoir. This is Renoir. I have nothing but time, I suppose, to sit and think. These days, I'm just a man who sits and thinks. When she was young, she'd get sad thinking about mortality. Okay, so it is, wow, it is Renoir talking about, it's not just some random colleague talking about Aline. It's freaking Renoir. Wow. She paints. She wasn't scared of death itself. Sad, because there's more works of art she'll ever see in our lifetime. Wow. But she proved me a liar. I encouraged them to believe that their dreams are within their grasp, but she proved me a liar. She did love to challenge me. Of all them, she and I are the most alike. I suppose that's why you ended up getting married. I suppose that's why you end up getting hitched. Talking about the painters, all of them. It's important to remember the ones we love. Man. This may also be an allusion to Verso. Keep them alive in our minds when they are far, far away. I paint them so I can remember them, remember their faces. It makes so much more sense now. It makes so much more sense. Man, this is wild. Okay, now the next one here it is. Here it is. Welcome to my train station. Where do you want to go? Welcome to my train. It's Verso. Man, Verso, he loves the trains. He loves the trains. And we got that line at Frozen Hearts where he was distraught over, how could they do this to my trains? Your train stations? I wonder, did we get this reaction because, probably not because we're talking as Verso in this case. I don't think this is a special interaction. Feel free to tell me if it is. But he says, your train station? Yes, And Mama just bought me a new train. It makes sense. God, how did I not see this, guys? How did I not see this? Blind playthrough. Mama just bought me a new train. An entire train she bought you? Yes, she knows how much I love them. The boy turns back to admire his train. Where can you take us? From here, your next destination is Lumiere, my hometown. So Verso maybe does think about, maybe he was actually this version of Verso, or no, if this is the real Verso fading away, then it very well could be that Lumiere is his hometown within the canvas. And that this distinction that I've been trying to make between, oh, what did Verso create and what did Aline create? Maybe there's no distinction, because that Lady of Sap, the portion of Aline saying, I do this for what he created, what we created. Maybe everything that Verso has created here in the canvas is really also Aline's creation, because she kind of taught him, or maybe they actually literally did it together. So maybe I shouldn't worry about trying to figure out whose chroma is whose. It's Verso's and Aline's together. My hometown of Lumiere. All right then, take us there. Wow. It is just like that fallen into place, guys. Unbelievable. I need another hydrate. Okay, I think we've got a couple more to go here. I think there might be a couple more. Yeah, there are a couple more after this. But this was the first time that I realized, aha, we know this fading person. I just wish I'd have been a little bit quicker on the uptake when it came to the other fading people. Thank you guys for not spoiling that. But holy crap. Clea, though, we meet once again at the Endless Tower. Alicia, I must say you've surprised me. So this is dialogue now that made so much more sense to us the first time than any of the other previous fading people, because now we're into Act 3. I didn't expect you and your friends to succeed. And I certainly didn't expect the doppelganger to pull you into his schemes. He was supposed to keep an eye on you, not recruit you. But you did well. All that's left is for Renoir to clean up the canvas. How can you let him erase Verso's canvas, we ask. Alicia, don't be emotional. You know, this is necessary. And spare me that drivel of how much this canvas means to you. I've spent far more time here than you. I painted half this world with Verso. Oh. I painted half this world. So Clea has a hand in this too. It might be Verso's canvas, but it sure sounds like this is a family affair. Because family is complicated. I might still try to fixate in on the whole chroma color situation, because it's so easy to see the gold chroma when we're talking when we're looking at Clea. And I think also when we're dealing with Alicia / Mael. We see gold chroma when she does the gommage. But maybe some of the previous interactions that we have just looked at, that we now know is Verso talking to us, the young boy, maybe he's been talking about Clea sometimes. And I think he definitely was in the Stonewave Cliffs. We went on adventures while you sat reading in your room. I was perfectly fine leaving Mama here to work out her sorrows. And if you insist on staying too, well, that's your choice. But Renoir will not stand for it, and I need him to help me with the real-world conflict outside, not waste more of his time in here. Clea just wants to be over and done with it. Enough. I grow tired repeating myself. Renoir will do what needs to be done. Why don't we have some fun instead? Also, I'm still... It'll be fun if we get some confirmation about whether these are after images or whether these are actually current, is Clea actually interface with the canvas at this moment talking to Mael. It would make more sense if she's not, because she doesn't go anywhere. The fading people, which we now know, Renoir, Verso, they don't go anywhere. They're just stood there at wherever their location is. I know they're an NPC in a video game. They don't move around necessarily, but it would, from an in-universe explanation standpoint, make sense if they're just after images that are just pinned to one specific location within the canvas, because they're actually not connected to the painter anymore. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't know. It makes sense to me, kind of. That sounds suspicious. And then I think we just get the explanation here of the Endless Tower Nevron grind, which I need to get back to do some of it shortly. Still such a timid child, you mope around all day, sad that you have no friends to play with, yet you decline every invitation. I've really had enough. Play. Don't play. I don't care. I'll explain the rules then. Do as you want. Yeah, okay. Doodles, Nevrons. A creative name. I like it. Verso and I named this challenge The Gauntlet. Survive them all, and I'll show you a true drawing. Come on, Alicia. Have some fun. The gauntlet lies within this canvas. Don't worry, death in there isn't final. Every canvas has its own rules, and I find death a boring outcome. Don't you, Alicia? There we go. Okay. So cool. Now, getting back to this, man, it's so crazy now. Understanding that this is Renoir. Because this is at the Reacher. And I think this was, even though we were in Act 3 and we were at the Reacher, I still was probably a little bit confused by this dialogue. But let's give it another look now. Oh, okay. I remember now what this guy said. Which is worse, to die or to be the one who survives? To grieve or to be grieved? Now, gosh, it's so much more consequential. He's talking from direct experience. I think he's answering his own question. Because I know what my answer is, and I think his answer is he would gladly have traded. Didn't he even say that literally? Didn't he even literally say that earlier, that he would have traded his years for Verso's? Isn't that what he said? Yeah, I would have traded my years for his, and that plays in directly with this dialogue, because he definitely would rather be the one to have died than to be the one grieving. And so I gave the answer that I would give, and which is, it's worse to be the one who survives. Some might say that's lucky, not simply because you survived, but because you had the opportunity to care deeply for another. I find myself grieving before they've even passed. Grieving what could have been, grieving what is to come. I find myself grieving before they've even passed. That's interesting. So that one there, I'm not sure exactly who he's talking about. Before they've even passed. Grieving what could have been. She'll never forgive herself. She'll carry her scars with her always, Alicia. Would that I could ease her burden. The man has gone silent. The man has gone silent. Man, this is just so this game is the best. The amount of foreshadowing. I don't know if I've ever played a game. I've seen some movies that have done this, and you go back to watch the movie for the second time, and it's like all the clues that were there. But this game does it so well with NPC interactions that I just totally overlooked. I like 100% overlooked, and sometimes I was like, why am I even doing this? Like, okay, we're doing this I'm a completionist. I talk to all the people. I do all the things, and that's how lost I was talking to these fading people, and I just completely didn't get it. But how could you get it? Honestly, I don't know who gets it their first time through. It's just that kind of a game. Oh, I just remembered. Before I go any further, I need to give a shout out to one of our channel members, Baglord. Thank you so much. Baglord was so kind to go through and find each of these fading conversations and let me know where to find them in my footage. Saved me a ton of work. I'm not sure that I would have had time to make this episode happen otherwise. So thank you to Baglord for making this happen. And this has been a lot of fun, but we have a little bit of extra time left. I want to kind of keep going here because there was somebody in the comments had also left a list, just a few additional interactions between our expedition members. Let me go ahead and pull this up here. Give me a moment to switch over to this, but I'm going to do this by the power of video editing. But our camp interactions, our friendship or relationship building, there apparently were a couple of these, a handful of these that were going to help me get a better idea of what was going on, clear up some of my confusion, hopefully. Let me go ahead and switch to that here. There we go. And I think this is Lune's level 2 conversation that she has with Verso. If we let's see what she had to say here. Verso approaches Lune. You can see that she wants to ask him more questions. She says, "I've been wondering, why stay on the continent alone? Why not return to Lumiere?" Verso says, "I did." Lune seems puzzled by that. "I went back, helped with the rebuild." Lune says, "Go on." "After the fracture, we didn't have anything. Food, shelter, none of it." She says things must have been chaotic then. Verso says, "Nothing like the end of the world to bring out the best and worst in us. I almost miss those times." Nothing like the end of the world. "You know the dome shield? My father and I helped build that." The dome shield, which protects against the Nevrons, right? It's so funny thinking back to when I first started the game and I was hearing about the dome shield, and I thought, wow, this is really real science fiction here with like the Nevrons are the aliens falling in from outer space, and we're raising the dome shield just in time. Lune says, "Why'd you leave then?" "Those early expeditions, they were search and rescue. We didn't know about the Paintress then. We just wanted to find our loved ones." Is that really true? Is that really true? So this would have been during Act 2, I think. This is before any of our big revelations, post Act 2. Verso was telling her that these were search and rescue expeditions. I feel like I still don't quite know what to make of the doppelganger's story at different points, how much of it was true, because I feel like he was hiding a fair amount from us. "Like my mother. We just wanted to find our loved ones like my mother. We didn't know about the Paintress then." That's an interesting line. Now that we know what we know, because the Paintress and his mother are one and the same, are they not? Except who does Verso, the doppelganger, think of as his mother? He doesn't have a doppelganger mother, right? Aline didn't paint a copy of herself. Unlike my confusion over Clea potentially creating a copy of herself, rather than just simply painting over the copy that Aline had created, which is what I think actually happened. But this line is interesting. "Like my mother." Lune says, "I see. But this time you didn't go back. But this time you didn't go back to Lumiere? People didn't trust me," he says. "Guess I'm hard to trust?" "Perhaps," she says. "Guess they thought I knew more than I did." Which is kind of the feeling that I had all the way through Act 2. "Halfway to the monolith, I was betrayed. Barely escaped." Huh. He's talking about some other expedition that he went along with, right? He must be talking about another expedition, and maybe, I wonder, we still really haven't gotten a good explanation about that cinematic that we have reviewed on a couple occasions now. It's from Act 1. We see a couple different, I think, Mael's Nightmare cinematics where Verso is like bloody and he's over somebody's corpse and he's about to fight somebody else. I think this might be the story behind that cutscene. I wonder. He was betrayed halfway to the monolith. Now, in that cutscene, if I remember correctly, the year on the monolith was 100. So, was that actually the very first expedition? He was with them, but they didn't trust him and they tried to take him out? So because he was betrayed and nobody trusted him, kind of killed his interest in returning home, which is what he says. Says Lune. What about you? Do you miss home? Lune says, I spent my whole life studying the Paintress and the monolith. This is where I need to be. What a long-winded way to avoid answering the question, says Verso. Yes, there are things I miss. Verso says, you paint such a vibrant picture. Lune, if you must know, what I really miss are... That one, I don't remember how she says it. I think it's a treat, though, right? Viennaciers? Ooh, good answer. I miss those, too. All right, and I think they go on with their... Oh, they have some awkward silence. Verso asks, what? I enjoyed this conversation. High praise. All right, Lune feels more relaxed in Verso's presence. So I think the main detail there that we got feels like my best guess, given the fact that I was nudged to look back at this conversation as, hey, this might help clear some things up. I have to think that this is something related to Mael's Nightmare. Also, I think this comment was left on one of the previous cutscene reviews. So it probably has to do with Mael's Nightmare and the fact that Verso was betrayed. That's very interesting. And that's a great nudge, by the way. That's the perfect kind of nudge, rather than giving me some full-out explanation of, hey, by the way, Verso explains in this conversation that yada yada, this is what actually happened in Mael's Nightmare. Point me in the right direction, but let me try to piece the clues together myself still. I'm okay with those kinds of nudges. Look back at this conversation with so-and-so back in episode such and such. Okay, so there's that conversation, and that gets us to Lune level 2. The next one here, I think, is SKA level 4. What would SKA have had to say here of importance? I'm mad. SKA, says Verso. I'm stinking mad. I'm not even going to try to do an SKA voice. Nobody can do SKA like SKA's voice actor, whoever that may be. Mad about Noko? SKA says, that was mean. I thought he cared. Renoir's not being Renoir. Okay, I have to think for a second here. Oh, right. Okay, this is after Old Lumiere. I think this is right after Old Lumiere, and what happens at Old Lumiere, Noko, Renoir, Noko, R.I.P. Noko, he's back now, but he's not quite the same. So, that was mean. I thought he cared. Renoir's not being Renoir. He's not, Verso says, exhaling. I know, buddy. I'm mad too. So, okay, we've had it revealed now at this point in the story. This is Old Lumiere, with the big revelation is that Verso is in fact Renoir's son. Now, it's interesting though, SKA mentions Renoir not being Renoir. Which Renoir is he talking about? Does SKA actually know the real Renoir? And is the real... If he knows the real Renoir, does he know all of the different fading Renoirs? I think that's what I'm going to call them. Don't confirm for me any of my stuff regarding like after images or other theories about how painting works, or even if the game tells us, like, the game may not tell us any details about how painting works and after images and stuff like that. Don't tell me that either. Don't let me know if the game tells us or not. However, I feel pretty confident that after image or not, all of those fading NPCs are Renoir, Clea, Verso. They're the fading family. That's what we'll call them. The fading Renoir, the fading Clea, the fading Verso. Does SKA know the fading Renoir? Does he know the curator Renoir? Does he know the doppelganger Renoir? Who is he talking about? This game can be a little bit confusing. Renoir's not being Renoir. So we spend time with SKA. Verso says, enjoying the stars. Stars are the apples of the sky, says SKA. I love the way you see the world, says Verso. Ooh, that constellation looks like Francois, says SK. It's not grumpy enough. It needs to look a bit more cranky. It's not grumpy enough. It needs to look... Yeah, that's what we said. He's not grumpy. He's just sad. He misses Clea. That's right. That's right. He does mention Clea here. Have we heard any mention of Clea? Was this the very first mention of Clea? I feel like this might have been the first time that we heard this name. Not sure. I'm getting a little distracted thinking about, was there any time in the game before this where Clea's name popped up? Verso, he misses Clea. Is Francois a painting of Clea? A painting or creation of Clea? Fran, he calls him, used to be all wee, but now he's all woo. Yeah, we get then we get the wee woo. The wee woo. Yeah, centuries go by without your best friends. That's gonna make you go woo. Verso says, yeah, but at least you shared some wee? Yes, wee! Back in the day when there was nothing in the world except the four of us. The four of us. Flying around on adventures. Okay, the four of us. Eskie, Fran, Verso, and Clea. Eskie was Verso's creation. Fran was Clea's creation. That's the vibe I'm getting here. And the four of us would have to be that. It would have to be them, right? Maybe even as kids, right? Of course they would have been kids. And that dialogue from the fading Verso back at the Stonewave Cliffs about Clea outgrowing him. Not clear exactly why the fading Clea outgrows the fading Renoir, other than maybe it's because sorry, I said fading Renoir, I meant fading Verso. It could just be the fact that Verso died in real life. And so the childlike version of him is stuck as the fading version in the campus. Canvas. Verso says, how come you're not grumpy like Francois? I am grumpy. Oh, are you now? I too am woo, but I'm also wee. So the wee balances the woo. Wee woo. I cannot do this justice like the awesome voice actors in this game, but I think we have, in spite of all the wee woo woo, that I think is the interesting tidbit there that we're meant to take away. The big takeaway, the fact that Clea was mentioned and that she and Verso, this actually kind of just fits right in with the fading people's dialogue that we've looked at just now. Hey, that one looks a little bit like Minoko. Okay. Oh, and if you squint and scrunch your face, that one next to it looks like Noko. All right, level 4 SKA reached. Very cool. So many awesome tidbits to be gleaned. The last one here is CL. I don't remember what level we reach, but she and Verso had some additional stuff to look back at. Verso approaches Ciel, seems open to talking. She says, here to make amends for your terrible story. I don't remember what the terrible story was. Verso says, I'll be honest, I didn't expect things to get so deep so fast. It was their previous relationship building session, wasn't it? I don't remember exactly what the story was, but she was getting on him for not really sharing, opening up sufficiently. That's what it was. Ciel, I could tell. I'm not really sure you're up to the challenge. Verso, oh, I can keep up. In fact, I'm here to offer a story. Ciel, a good one this time? Yes, well, you said I'm vain. Ciel, no, you said you were vain. Verso, would a vain person keep this scar? I could heal it, but I don't. Ciel, oh, why is that? Verso, so he says that he could heal it. He could heal it if he wants. Does that mean that he has some, well, we know that Verso has magic, quote unquote. He can kind of slice himself in half. So whether it is the fact that he is Verso's doppelganger, or maybe just because he leans creations. But I have a feeling it's more the fact that he's specifically Aline's doppelganger creation of Verso, and that she's imbued him with some special powers that other Neverons just don't have, other creations of hers just don't have. He's able to do magic tricks. He's able to, I don't know, redo his face by removing a scar or whatever else he would want to do. With this funny, silly baguette outfit on at the same time. He says it's a reminder of the price I paid to stand on my own 2 feet. But it meant walking away from people I cared about. What is that a reference to? So there you have it. Dark and personal. What exactly is he talking about here? He could heal the scar, but he doesn't because it reminds him of the price he paid. To stand on his own 2 feet. In other words, to walk away from Renoir, the doppelganger Renoir. Because it's the same scar that the doppelganger Renoir has. Isn't it? Or is it on it's on the other eye, I think. I might need to recheck the footage, but it meant walking away from the people he cared about. His family. And I think this also happens after Old Lumiere, so we don't know about him being a copy yet, but we do know about him being related to the Renoir and the Alicia inside of the canvas. Dark and personal. Ciel, I feel like there's more to this story. It's probably not a coincidence then that Renoir has a similar scar. Okay, I forgot that she mentions that. So we reply, Mael's right, you really do see everything. Ciel, Verso, yeah, we disagreed on pretty much everything. Tactics, goals, what lines we wouldn't cross. I had to walk away, but he was resistant. Ciel, you fought? Verso, it was the first time we ever raised a hand against the other. They gave themselves scars. Maybe this was the question that I had during the cutscene review. I was thinking to myself, where did they get these scars from? If that was indeed the question, I think I have my answer. Renoir and Verso gave each other scars. I completely forgot about this. This is a very obvious and notable conversation where they straight up tell you exactly where they get the scars from. I just haven't been taking the best notes during this playthrough. I have noted some dialogue here and there, but I haven't been doing it religiously. If you can control your healing, that means Renoir can too. And he made the same choice as you. Interesting. Verso, I never thought of it that way, but you're right. So, dark and personal enough for you? CL, it was worthy. Verso, worthy of the story of that scar on your stomach? CL, well, we all have scars that won't heal, don't we? Verso, deep. CL, that's a story for another time. Now, does she ever get to that story? I have to say, I don't know for sure. I know that she had, obviously, the tragedy with her unborn child and being lost at sea and being rescued by Eskie. But I don't remember if that was related to the scar. CL, the scars look good on you, though. Yeah. Dude, we've seen this conversation before, but I was thinking to myself at the start of the conversation about him being vain. And I was like, dude, he's vain. He keeps the scars because it makes him look better. And he says it here at the end. I know, that's the real reason I keep them. Maybe he's part joking, but you know, the scar is badass. What can you say? CL, I knew it. CL appreciates that Verso opened up to her. She feels closer to Verso now. There it is. Relationship level 3 for CL. Guys, that was so much fun and so worthwhile. I cannot believe, except I can, because this is Clair Obscur. This is Expedition 33. This game is a masterpiece, and the way that the story has been foreshadowed and woven into this game is so good. To have the understatement of the year, it's so good, guys. That's where we'll wrap up this installment of Expedition 33. Thank you all for hanging out with me for this special bonus installment, looking back at the fading family that we now know them to be, as well as additional interactions. This has been so much fun, and definitely, I mean, not just cleared up some things. This has maybe some of the most major of questions has been to me, who are these fading people and what exactly are they doing all over this place? I think we know now. And they're not just a bunch of randos. That feels like such a great discovery. The more and more that I play this game and the more I learn about this game, the more it is just one of my all-time favorites. Absolutely love it. We're going to be pressing forward very soon into Renoir's drafts. We're going to try to keep picking up expedition logs. I will, I have a couple expedition logs that I am aware of that are on the continent. There's a couple groups of enemies near, I think, the Forgotten Battlefield that I've scouted out. I think I mentioned it in a previous episode. We need to get to those. Maybe we'll start next episode with that before we go to Renoir's drafts. But I think you all have noted that it would be great if we could collect all of the expedition logs, and I want to do that. So I will put it out there right now. If there are expedition logs that are not within the 3 major zones that we have left to do, which are Renoir's drafts, Lumiere itself, the final confrontation with Renoir, and then we want to do Verso's drafts. Those are like the 3 big objectives that I have left for us in the game. But if there are expedition logs in other, parts of the continent, or perhaps other zones that I haven't explored yet that we may or may not get to, we may or may not have time, if you want to nudge me to where extra expedition logs could be found outside of the main objectives, feel free to leave those nudges. Please do leave the same spoiler tags that you would always do. Expedition log nudge below. And I will maybe or maybe not look at those as needed. But thank you all, as always, for hanging out with me and the nudges and the guidance. Shout out again to Baglord for helping make this episode happen. And as always, thank you all very much for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next one.